Alright, guys. Have you ever had those moments when you thought you saw it all in this world? You know, you've aged, and as you've aged, you come across things that, oh my gosh, I never thought I would see that. Just happened, dude. Here in North Carolina, one of the biggest problems is that this is the South. It was a Confederate state, whatever. So you have, in your judicial system, you have your white judges, white lawyers, all together. I mean, the only way you might have a possibility of justice is to go ahead and have a jury trial and request it from the onset of any civil or criminal matter. But this is the interesting part. When you talk about employment, like at Wake County Human Services and at South Wilmington Street Center, you have a hierarchy. You have a central office with HR, and you have departmental HR representatives and so forth. Now, I know sometimes you have a vacuum of qualified personnel when people leave and so forth. But what end up happening is this, is that, let's say, suppose you encounter an action, get written up, get demoted, you don't get that incentive pay, whatever, you want to challenge it. Here in this scenario, is one example is, dude gets dismissed, he goes ahead and files an appeal. Now, a grievance form. Now, what's interesting is this, is that you've ever had a scenario where people try to frustrate you from availing yourself of your rights. They can do that. They can frustrate you. One way to do that is, first, like in Wake County government, is one of the things they've come up with is this, is that public government employees' emails are no longer public. So to find an email, you really used to be listed like the state, where the state has North Carolina.gov. Type in somebody's name, the email pops up, whatever. Wake County government used to have that. Now, look what they did. They changed it for this entrenchment to frustrate people. What do? The directories are no longer published. They're no longer public knowledge. Okay, so you got so let's say, for example, when you file your appeal, you must go ahead and contact and also provide a copy to your department head and so forth. What about, you didn't really have much contact with the department head? Saw her what, once every blue moon? Don't really know her email, fax number, whatever. You don't really the big top dogs, you don't really, the Warren Ludwigs of county government, you don't really contact them. But now you have a frustration purpose in that these employees are no longer, the information is no longer out there. I remember when Maria Spalding and like one or two administration passed their open door policy, dude. You could go any day of the week and meet with Maria. Her door was always open. I think it was the 5th floor of Human Services. And you could go over there, open door policy, talk, whatever, employee or public. No matter who you are. If you had a problem with Wake County Human Services, you would go there. Then you came in, one of the latest administrations was Maria. Regina Pettaway. Oh my God. Wake County Human Services, the Wake County government became a fortress. Just like the public schools. You can't go in to complain no more. You can't find a human life form anymore. Everything's by email, and these bureaucracies, nothing is really put out there to the public, so they expect you to somehow by osmosis, it just comes in and it's there. To have all these names and contact persons, no, they don't exist no more. So the higher ups, the publication of all that stuff, if it's government, It should be public. Government public. Okay, so this poor dude, he files grievance to protest his termination. He goes ahead and he does it early. He knows he's about to be terminated. I mean, that's what the talk is in the town. That's what this person who wrote him up has a history of. Getting you fired for no valid circumstances, wrongful termination. So he knows, hey, look, she just wrote me and she's looking to go ahead and. So he, knowing that he hasn't been terminated yet, knowing that it's going down that route, he does his grievance form because he starts go ahead and communicating, hey, look, I need my evidence. I need this, that, that. Goes into pre-supervisory meeting and asks for this stuff and it's not present, never gets produced. The pre-supervisory meeting with top dogs never gets continued, never gets rescheduled, even though they know that he didn't have the evidence and needs to defend himself. So what ends up happening is that in this scheme of thing with HR, you have Angela Crawford, you have a Tanika. Tanika is interesting because this dude files his stuff early, and then normal legal practices in this area, in these parts, in this jurisdiction, is that when you go ahead and do certain actions, you have to service of process. I mean, you unfortunately and fortunately here, you have to. They use the mail system. Okay, the statutory construct is someone needs to be served via certified mail. Now, what's interesting in this is that with COVID, there's no more signatures. Okay, you can send a document certified mail, and before the person or individual it was being sent to had to sign green slip. If he wasn't present, you take that back to the post office. You pick up your letter if he wasn't present. If you were present, then you go ahead and just sign for it when the mailman comes. First lack of service of process is that this dude did not even sign for a letter from the county government. Okay? Dropped off at the mailbox. This is a new COVID process. Alright? That means the law and statutory construct is frustrating because you are now allowing a process that defeats service of process. Okay? And that you're allowing the mail system now with COVID is we're not going to require that you sign for the letter. So we're just going to drop it off at your house. Okay. Now, that is really a denial of the due process right because this person, the days that he has to respond to a action starts with when he signs the letter, the receipt for the certified letter. If that process did not begin, because you have no proof that it was served to him in a timely manner, because nowadays the post office guys, they just dropped it off. So you don't know exactly when he got the letter, first of all. Okay, so in your little COVID scheme, you have to provide then extensions of time, right? Because COVID now allows this letter to be just dropped off. Instead of having the process that was the way it was look, the certified mail comes. If he's not present, mailman leaves a notice. They come get your package. The post office. They leave up to 3 notices. They give it a couple of days, give you another notice, whatever, give you 3. And then if you don't pick it up by 15 days, it's gone. It's back to where it's. So this service of process is that this dude is being denied his service of process rights because of a new COVID era implementation of a new scheme of things. Okay, again, it defeats the statutory process of ensuring that if you file a lawsuit, file any actions, that the person has first had the right to even see what you filed. Second, then once he or she has the actual document of their being sued, or action is being taken, or if someone's availing them of their rights for due process in terms of challenging a demotion or merit increase that wasn't given to them, or even a dismissal. So that gets frustrated with these new rules. So now all of a sudden this replacement interim HR person for the housing department at Wake County Humans, no, at South Wilmington Street Center, part of Wake County government. What she does, she says, hey, look, you messed up, okay? When your supervisor told you you were fired, your 5 days began then. But here's the problem also, is that you have written policy of Wake County government says your 5 days to respond starts with when you get that certified letter copy. Okay? That's it. Not only was it supposed to be sent certified letter, it's supposed to be a regular copy. So if policy says, hey, look, if you're a supervisor of this dude that got dismissed, you need to send a copy to him regular mail. Okay. And then in addition to that, and then you count off 3 days for anticipated receipt, even though nowadays the postal system, if you get a letter after you mail it within 10 days, you're lucky. You're lucky. Absolutely lucky. The way the mail is running nowadays. So they need to actually amend that stuff. But, so your supervisor, according to Wake County government policies, says you're supposed to drop a copy in the mail, all right, and send you a certified letter, right? So he only sends a certified letter, right? Certified letter with a defeating purpose of, because of COVID, this dude can't sign for it. So when he actually got it, may be different from when it was actually dropped off at his address. Especially given, I don't know about you, part of this mail problem lately also has been that these mail people, I've gotten other people's mail so much nowadays, it's not even funny. It used to be a rarity, maybe once every 6 months. Luckily, if you were lucky, it would be once every 9 months. I've gotten so many of my neighbors' mail, it's not even funny. So, could the certified letter have been sent to the wrong place and given to him late? Yes, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. That's because there's no COVID criteria. So you have no signature. Main point is this: to show that Mr. McLean, Orlando, signed for a letter. Don't have it. You don't have it. So if he were to be late in responding to anything and miss his 5 business day window, you would have to give him a COVID extension, because the way the system is running right now, you can't guarantee mail, and you can't guarantee certified letters. So I say this because you have the whole thing with open and competitive. Getting back to that whole thing, I mean, open and competitive hiring and the BDE syndrome. What is the B? My brother, he used to call it BFE, and I don't want to mention what the F stands for. BDE is when you have a facility, a center, a building that is composed of largely one race, and they're using discriminatory practices to get rid of other people and make sure that other people who are not like them, race-wise, or ethnicity-wise, or language-wise, or religion-wise, that they don't get hired. So they've adopted this whole scenario where they've gotten access to positions, and then they feel like they have a right to go ahead and do reverse discrimination. Prejudice. Now, racism usually implies that you're the part of the ruling class and then you discriminate against a minority class. Reverse prejudice means you're part of the minority class discriminating against other minorities. So the biggest thing when I ran into stuff like that is it's just heartbreaking when you see stuff like that. I mean, I was in an all-black church in New York, and it was always like, you know, the we're the what do you call it, the reverse racism or prejudice attitudes existed there. Over here, it was more found in, like, I was in a parking lot, massive church up in Cary, and they cater to everybody. I mean, they just go ahead and serve you no matter what. But what ended up happening is that Hispanic ministry was part of that massive church, and this lady in the parking lot, she says, the white people try to join our service and try to be incorporated into our services, and we didn't want them to be a part of our service or be incorporated because we feel like we need to go ahead and worship by ourselves and not mix. Like, dang. I'm like, did I just hear this? Sounds like 2019 in the parking lot of a massive church. And it's the entrenched attitudes that this is why here in the U.S. you have white churches, black churches, Hispanic churches. Racism is so ingrained in people's hearts and attitude. It's horrible. So as a Baptist, people on the block here, love them to death. I mean, man, they'll help anybody most of the time. They had a men's ministry breakfast. Loved it, dude. They came help me put a ramp out on my house. Great people. And I'm at home going to an all-black church. I'm at home going to a Hispanic church. And this, the massive ministry up in Raleigh, Hispanic ministry, got the same attitude, dude. It's phenomenal. It's got the same attitude. We're Hispanics, and we need to be together. There's nothing there if you don't know Spanish. There's no dual services. There's no afternoon for English speakers. None of that stuff. So they're entrenched with, we're Hispanic, we want to stay Hispanic, and we don't want you entering into our world. Like, massive ministry though. Massive. So that attitude can be pervasive, even in here, Raleigh, North Carolina. So the BDE, Black Bang Egypt, is when you have a housing department that's predominantly black. You have HR who got black people in there, and then you end up miraculously with all black staff serving all black shelter population. Just about. Is it a miracle that it happened that way, or is it by design? It's by prejudice. Prejudice, all right, that it allows to happen. It's just as bad as racism. So if a white person did it, you would go crazy and anal about it. But if a minority or a black person does it, you don't go crazy about it. So this dude here, he just gets a email from Tanika. Just look at the name. And she says, you've lost your appeal rights because you didn't submit your documents on time. Wherein he had submitted it early, when he knew they were heading down that path. And then he submitted it in a timely manner. But either way, you don't have proof that he got served. So if he were accidentally late for any moment, you should automatically extend his time. Because you don't have proof under the law, the way the construct is, that he received a certified letter. You have no proof. Period. So, it's interesting because now I had to counsel someone that they have a problem at their job wherein the handicap ADA accommodation they were supposed to get gets denied because someone doesn't. Is the same type of scenario. Same. It's a facilities manager at a facility in Raleigh off of South Wilmington Street, and they can't control or supervise their employees and stipulate no parking over there, it's reserved for so and so. So it's crazy because now you're looking at when you're filing your stuff, ADA, workman's comp, and civil action for negligence, action for all this other stuff. So it's crazy. It's crazy because this 2021 in Raleigh, North Carolina, there's an acceptance of or a customary practice of reverse racism and prejudice, more so. I am making this video because it's heartbreaking in that this is why people have left Wake County Human Services or South Emergency Center or other departments and so forth, because it's just ingrained, it's so customary, it's blatant, it's out there. And if you were to have open and competitive hiring, those things wouldn't happen. Shouldn't happen. But when you allow it to be because it's your people, it's just wrong. I'm sorry, dude. It's just wrong. And nothing's being done. Wait, you missed the timeline. Okay, August 18th is like, oh, no. All these arguing about dates and so forth, it's just crazy. And policy there is just like the, what do you call it? When you go to the judicial system, the white judges, white lawyers, you get no justice. That's why you're like, well, why are these people all up in the streets with Black Lives Matter stuff? Well, because there's no outlet for them, because the judicial system is crazy. And so that's why they turn to the streets. Because you can't just file a lawsuit and fix it. Because you file a lawsuit, the judge will get a motion from a lawyer who says, the moon is rainbow colored, and it comes up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and it stays out till 7 o'clock p.m. Lawyer's motion. Judge is like, absolutely, positively. I see that every day. Ruled in your favor, Mr. Lawyer. Meanwhile, the other guy's like, dude, what the hell are you doing? That's totally like ludicrous. Oh, sir, you can file an appeal. Huh? What? That's why you got to have some judges. Jurors. God bless. I'm trying to go ahead and address this, but take care of yourselves. Be safe out there. It's COVID causes the end of the world anyway. Oh my gosh. Gosh, our leaders are something else, but whatever. God bless. Take care of yourself. See ya.